with every setback is an even greater comeback. And that will be the goal of this season for me.
What was your biggest fear?
That my career would be over.
Jacoby!
As Megan Jacoby shattered records and made history. Making her not only the fastest woman ever in HYROX, but also the first to ever go under 60 minutes.
Absolutely crushed that world record.
From the day one, I just was like, I want to be a world champion in this.
The race is on, ladies and gentlemen, the HYROX World Championship of Fitness Racing in Nice 2024. This woman is on fire. She knows that she is delivering, without a doubt. Here she is, your World Champion 2024, Megan Jacoby.
Here I am living my dream. 2 years into my career, I'm a full-time pro athlete. I was able to leave my corporate job at the beginning of the second season. For me, if I set my mind on something, I know I will figure out a way to make it happen. It's just a matter of when.
That is why she's the athlete she is, because she has this mentality of, I want to be the best, I will do whatever it takes to get there.
She used that to inspire other people, to inspire other women, other athletes.
The build-up for Amsterdam, I felt fitter than ever.
All right, and here we go, straight out of the gates. This is the start of our women's elite race here, the first major of the season, live from Amsterdam.
Get my first major done in my qualification for Worlds, but then the week after, things really got really bad. Unfortunately, we're gonna be having surgery.
He said it's a very big one what you have, and the problem is it's getting bigger. She has to be at the World Championship in 6 months.
She will dive headfirst and she will do what it takes.
I have no choice.
We should do the surgery.
I started having a panic attack. I don't really know what I'm gonna look like in June.
The first doctor said the World Championship in June is absolutely impossible.
She thought that her career was gonna end.
Sometimes you don't know how you got through situations. Like you look back and you're like, I don't know how I was doing that.
It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you gonna feel about yourself?
But I never choose the easy way. I always choose the hard way. That's when you grow the most, is when you're going through the hardest thing, right? We don't grow when we quit or give up. Honestly, I don't think anybody understands how crazy I will become now after this. I'm Meg Jacoby. I am a professional athlete, a mom. I'm a coffee lover, a coach, and the HYROX World Champion of 2024. And this is my story. So I actually live currently in my hometown, making transitions of moving presently, but I grew up super sporty. My brother and I were just always outside playing sports, running, biking, just whatever we could do that was active. Super competitive kids.
So I'm the younger sibling. Megan's 3 years older than me. Megan and I naturally were extremely competitive. Losing was never something that was, I don't want to say tolerated, but it was definitely not the goal. If you're gonna play competitive sports, you play to win the game. Like you don't just play for fun. Like that wasn't something that was taught to us by our parents as far as our competitive drive. That was all internal. That was just how her and I are wired. I may honestly even be worse than her because I'm such a poor loser. Megan's much more gracious in her losses. She definitely is a lot more professional in that aspect than I am. And my parents definitely saw that in both of us and really helped cultivate that. I started playing basketball, soccer, gymnastics when I was like 5. We always took it very seriously, right? So like Megan always had a lot of support from, my parents and I to try and be the very best that she could be.
My dad really is a huge driving force of the discipline and the consistency that I have as an athlete, because it was always showing and telling us if you want to be better at something, you have to practice.
She's learned the importance of work ethic and everything. So, there's not that she didn't have that at the beginning, she always did, but as you mature, you can channel some of your natural behaviors. So she's been able to do that extremely well from a young age all the way now into her, mid-30s.
From a very young age, I was told by coaches that I had a real gift in running. I ran in a mile in 4th or 5th grade, like 7:30. I won every race I ever did in cross country and track from 7th and 8th grade. And I was told very early, hey, you can do something with this. If you want to get a Division I scholarship, you can do that. And I signed a deal to UConn. That's where I got most of my education from. It was some of the most fun, but also hardest years from the perspective of learning how to handle pressure. I think you come out of high school into college and you're really successful in high school. So you're like a big fish in a small pond, and then you are the polar opposite in college. Even on your own team, there are 15 girls just as fast as you, if not faster. I didn't have coaches that always positively cultivated that. There was a lot of internal competition, and that was often stemming from the coaches, the way they spoke to us, the way they spoke about our own teammates to us. It wasn't made to be hey, this is a team and we cheer for each other no matter what. It was more like, well, if you aren't performing, like, this one's gonna take your spot. And that kind of created an environment that was more competitive than needed. Most of my friends were my teammates. And so you have this friendship, but this competitive nature with one another. I felt myself kind of going in that direction and was like, this isn't who I am. I actually ended up leaving that program partially for that reason. I made big changes in myself. I'm very proud of that because it's also made me a strong, supportive woman of other women now.
Megan is a very good role model for female athletes. It doesn't matter if we compete together, it doesn't matter if we do the same sport, the same competition, but she inspired me a lot of time in the past few years. But one that will stay in my heart forever is Vienna, an HYROX major, and that race didn't went as planned for me, but we were at the finish line. I was very sad, and she was there for me, with me. She didn't care about the rest. She was there telling me my strength and remember me my why and why I was there. I love the way she's leading this sport and her role as a woman in this sport.
She's trying to push the other girls too, which is not very common in this sport, I guess, because it's not kind of a team sport. But she always had this attitude that it's better to push each other than just competing against each other.
Every single one of these women that I race with motivates me, inspires me, pushes me to be better, a better person, a better athlete. These ladies, they worked so hard, and it really could have been any one of them today. So I'm just fortunate that it was me. It was my time.
And I can remove my own feelings of my own performances, whether it's a good day for me or a bad day for me, or if I didn't have the day I wanted, I'm still able to go do that for others. I think you can see that, like, every race I go down and cheer everyone on at the wall balls. And I think that a lot of that is coming from my experience in college. I was only 1 year out of college when I became pregnant with my daughter. So I didn't have an opportunity to grow a career really at all. I worked in New York City for like 8 or 9 months right out of college. I did not love it. I always was working 2 jobs to just make ends meet. I was project manager at an engineering company, and I was always coaching as well. So I coached high school cross country, indoor and outdoor track for 5 or 6 years at my former high school. And I would, do personal training sessions at a gym that I used to go to often as well, like just part-time on the side. Then I moved to Hawaii, and that's where I ended up having my daughter. So completely different lifestyles. Like, one is go, 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 and the other is like so chill. It was definitely difficult because I became a single mother very early on after I had her, and without having really a career or, you know, like steady income, that was very scary. It was stressful, but it also created a lot of strength and resilience, because it was like, I have to figure it out. I have somebody depending on me, and I just have to make it work. And I, you know, worked at jobs at the very bottom level, and really had to gain experience and had to work my way up.
I actually got to go visit her out there. My parents went several times, and it was a beautiful place. It's truly a tropical paradise. But raising a family in Hawaii without any additional family support, just you and your significant other, is very difficult.
How was your training back then? So where did you train?
So the crazy part about me is that regardless of what I was going through, I was always training, and I always figured out a way. Because I think when you're going through something hard, and I was going through a lot of hardship, like in my personal life, the only thing I know how to do well in those situations is like be an athlete. Give me confidence, it would make me feel better. So I always just dove into that. So when I was in Hawaii, the weather was nice, so I would run with my daughter in my jogger every single day. And that was one of her naps. And I started that at like, she was maybe 2 weeks old. So where you had to have the car seat in the stroller. So it probably weighed like 60 pounds, and I was pushing that thing around. And I would do strength training with light dumbbells at home. I'd be right next to her, and if she woke up, I'd you know, hold her and do my squats or whatever. Like, I just always kind of made it work with what I had. I didn't have the money to go to a gym. I didn't have money to have a babysitter back then. So I was staying home with her. I nannied for a family so I could bring her with me and still earn some money. And then every day after I would be done, I would take her on a 60 to 90 minute run in the jogger. And that was like just my everyday. I moved back home because I needed my family support. It was starting to get really hard. I also nursed for 2 years. So just that, I think any mom can understand, like, that is exhausting. You don't really get any time away from your child when you're doing that. So I needed to kind of find myself. I think I felt like I really lost myself. I didn't have any friends. I didn't really have a social life there. I'm a very social person. I was definitely struggling. And so I moved home. Having my parents I remember having this like epiphany. I was on a run by myself once, and I realized that was the first time in 2 years since having my daughter that I did anything without her. The first time that she was not with me. Like, the sense of freedom that I felt, I was like, wow. Sometimes you don't know how you got through situations. Like, you look back and you're like, I don't know how I was doing that. And so I needed them, and that was big. And then I moved in with them, and so then I was able to afford a gym membership that had a daycare, because I was saving so much money living with my parents for a little while.
So Megan moved back home with Mila when Mila was about 2. She needed support and she needed help, and my parents definitely were able to step up. I was in college actually at that time, and I lived at home. I was commuting to school my last 2 years of undergrad, and I was already bodybuilding at that time, so I didn't really have a whole lot that I did on the weekends. I pretty much stayed home. What ended up happening was I kind of volunteered to babysit Mila, and again, that was when she was a toddler. And so, she'd basically just hang out with me, and we'd watch TV and do whatever, and, until it was bedtime, and, I'd put her to bed and all that jazz. So it was a great bonding time, not only for me and my niece, but, Megan was working at that time. So Megan came home and immediately got, a service job, so she worked nights, and, she did anything that she could to try and make as much money as she could to try and provide for, her and Mila. It was all about stability at that time for both Megan and Mila.
And that was really helpful, because then I got 2 hours a day to train and just have that time for myself. That was a big deal for me as a person, and just like kind of finding Megan again, and not just like Megan as the mom, but also Megan as an individual. In 2022, I had a friend, he kind of started hearing about the DECA series, which is essentially a spin-off of HYROX, basically just a different brand. And I was leading a big group of people in these kind of workouts. They had a little bit of CrossFit in them, but they had a lot of endurance. They were long. And he was like, hey, you know, you kick ass in these workouts. There's this event that's very similar, and I think you would do really well in it. I always describe HYROX to people who've never heard of it as like an endurance CrossFit event. Basically 8.7 kilometers. It's 8 essential 1Ks, and then you have the rock zone. And there's 8 stations. So you do a run, and then you have to complete a station movement. The goal is who can do it the fastest.
Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up.
Coming from running, this is definitely more of a running race, so it was just a really good fit for my whole background. A group of us signed up for a race in the fall in New York City. It was like the closest one to us. I had a friend, he was working with Rich Ryan, who is now like my big brother, business partner, one of my best friends. And he introduced me to Rich and was like, hey, I think maybe this guy could help you with coaching. And I was extremely reluctant because I was kind of like, why do I need a coach? I don't know, I feel like I know what I'm doing.
I could tell that she was a little bit skeptical of just like of me, of just like this whole process, because she has such a great fundamental understanding of just strength training and how that would all work. So we kicked off our conversation and we decided that we could kind of work together in terms of a coach-athlete relationship for her upcoming events, which she was going to do a race in New York. So I helped her prepare for her first ever HYROX event.
I'm super glad that I signed on with Rich because I definitely would have made a lot of mistakes in my first race. We did some baseline tests and I remember like sending him my results and I think he was pretty shocked. I had no idea like what was good. I didn't know what a good 2K ski was at this time or a good Karen 150 wall balls time was. I didn't know really like how good I was. I remember asking him before my first race, like what kind of time he thought I could get. And he was like, I don't really like to do this, but I think you'll be 63 to 66, my first time. And at the time, the world record was 63 something. And I was like, what? But he was completely right. I ended up with a 66 because I got a 2-minute penalty for missing a lap. It was a 4-lap course.
First HYROX, yes. The energy and the vibes here are so amazing. Definitely count your own laps. That's lesson number 1. While I definitely want to make the World Championships, I think I'm going to be trying to chase that World Championship record time down right now. It's 1 hour and 3 minutes. I feel like I've kind of found my niche, so it's exciting.
It is nothing like anything I've seen before, and I was like, I literally love this.
I met Megan at her first HYROX race in New York. I was warming up and she was there warming up too, and I saw this stunning, beautiful, blonde girl, super fit, super strong, and I was like, oh my God, she's gonna kick my ass.
I made the Elite 15 my first race, and I thought to myself, like, okay, I should like probably do something with this. And then I just decided I was all in.
After that first race, she decided she was going to go into the next race in Chicago, and we kind of talked through how to execute on that day. And she listened a little bit, but not a lot, and she went out and did her thing and set the world record that day. She was going to be something special in terms of an athlete, and now it was just about figuring out the best way to maximize that in a like sustainable and like predictable approach.
The women are really coming in hot, and I love that. If it's an achievement for me, then it's achievement for the whole field of women. That's how I feel. And if it's not an achievement for me and it's an achievement for one of the other top women, it's still an achievement for me too. Like, we're gonna get there because we're going to keep pushing each other.
They're all cheering for you, Meg. Good job.
My first full year of doing HYROX, I became the first woman to ever break 60 minutes, and I did that in a time of 58:58.
We too broke the world record in the women's pro doubles category.
I broke the women's pro world record 3 times. That was eye-opening to what I can do when I really give something 110%.
She works so hard for what you want. The first time I met Megan, it was in Maastricht, 2023 for the European Championship. We were wondering, like, who is this girl? Smashing times, smacking records. The excitement was like so high because like we really wanted to see what was going to happen with this lady racing Maastricht. Like, she came out of nowhere. She got something special. We all fell in love with her personality and character.
I'm a all go or no go kind of person. For me, if I set my mind on something, I know I will figure out a way to make it happen. It's just a matter of when.
So one thing that I don't think I will ever forget when coaching Meg was in between her first race and second race, she wanted to feel prepared. So that day, we just popped on a call, just talk about how she wants to approach the next race. And she said, yeah, I wanted to make sure I could do the lunges. So I just did 400 meters of walking lunges just to see how it felt. And 400 meters of walking lunges is just like a crazy amount. And it's not something that I would ever prescribe, but that just kind of sums her up. Like, she will take things all the way. There's not halfway, there's not some of the way. When Meg decides she's going to commit to something and get better at it, she wants to get great at it. And she pushes all of her chips in an intense way. That is why she's the athlete she is, because she has this mentality of, I want to be the best, so I will do whatever it takes to get there. If 400 meters of walking lunges is all it will take, she'll do that, where most athletes will be like, that's a little bit too much. Not Meg. She will go all the way there.
And I remember my first world championships in Manchester. I came in second. I fell a little short of my goal. I, of course, wanted to win. Came down to, I think, 15 wall balls-ish. Lauren Weeks got the dub there, but it was a battle the whole race. It was very exciting, and it was such good experience for me. Also, just how to handle pressure and also falling short of a goal, because it really was a big driving force of my second season. Getting my training more dialed in, being able to handle things mentally better. I removed a lot of outside stress from my life. Not everybody is happy for you when you change or you are pursuing a big goal. I think sometimes it's a mirror reflecting on other people. So I had to remove a lot of things to stay on that track, to get to my own full potential.
Have you had in mind that you one day want to become the world champion?
Oh yeah, from day one. From day one.
It's actually, I'm not even sure I know how to feel right now. I'm like smiling and laughing and crying all at the same time. My heart was in my throat the entire time during the wall balls. I didn't know if I was gonna get the next rep. It was just like one at a time. It was so overwhelming. And it's honestly been a completely different feeling this season. My last race, it was not my best. I was feeling pretty down about it. I took some time to just kind of relax from training and fall in love with it again. And I had a really good lead up to this race, and I could just feel it today. I just felt like I knew I had it today when I got out there.
Sometimes to others that might seem crazy or delusional, but I say this all the time and I stand on this. If you first don't believe it's possible, it will never be possible. That belief has to come from you. It cannot come from outside or from others. It has to be something you feel in your heart, or you won't make it happen.
How would you describe it to others to be a pro athlete at this level? I think there are always two sides of the story.
For sure. I think everything you do in life has a trade. And I think a lot of people see the shiny thing, but they don't understand truly the trade of what it takes to get there. You have to be willing to give up and sacrifice so much if you want a goal like that.
She became a student of it, and she decided that she would spend a lot of time thinking about how to maximize the stations, figuring out the best way to do her nutrition, figuring out the best way that she can recover. A big challenge that she also faces is that she does do a lot of work. She will do more and is willing to do more than anybody else. But that also comes at a cost. And most athletes, they're not able to train at a level where Meg trains and be able to perform well. So this was definitely a challenge that she had to take on, and she figured out the way to overcome like this tremendous training load so that she could still perform at a world championship level. There was a time where Meg was kind of fighting off some injury, and I watched her warm up for 90 minutes. And that's just the type of determination and the type of kind of problem solving that she will come with when facing some kind of obstacle. She will dive headfirst and she will do what it takes.
I don't do anything socially, almost ever. I say no all the time. Learning how to say no, learning where you need to invest your time and how to prioritize, manage everything in your life for this goal. I knew my first season, if I was going to be a pro, a real pro and a real world champ and really get those goals, I knew I could not work a full-time job and do that. I know that that's not how like life works for everybody, but I figured out a way to quit my job, and that was building up my coaching business.
What do you like about coaching?
The biggest thing I love about coaching is honestly helping people avoid mistakes that I've made. It sounds like a lot, but when I've done less, I'm cramping every single time. And also just helping people reach their own personal goals. Strength is from within. If you believe you can do anything, I firmly believe in that, but you have to have action. You have to have discipline. You have to be willing to change your habits, to change everything in your life if you have that big goal, or else it's just a dream. I think one of the coolest parts about becoming a professional athlete in HYROX is how many people share with me that they're inspired by me. That's not something that I expected. And I take that position really, really seriously. So I love that I can create a community of my own where I have an interpersonal relationship with these people who sign up with me, who have similar goals, and that I can help them achieve them. I have a women's coaching group right now with 27 women in it, and it's awesome. Everybody supports each other so much, and they're all seeing so much progress in their training. It's just really makes me feel like I'm giving back something really positive to the community.
So a lot of the qualities that Meg has that makes her such a great athlete is the determination, is the mindset of doing more and being the best and having singular focus. But there's also moments of just extreme tenderness that I've been able to experience from her, whether it is buying my wife flowers because Meg stayed with us for a couple of days, whether it's buying me coffee on my birthday, taking time to think of others. She's someone who is so determined and is so dead set on something, but she still has time for others. I think that that is a rare quality. She's so caring, has a big heart, is very loyal, is a great friend. And those are the moments that define her the most for me, are those small moments that I get to experience from her, just the nuance in their personality and that she does have a lot of caring and compassionate traits within her.
I remember very well World Championships in Manchester, but especially all the build up. I made a video for the trailer for that championships, and it was simply, I think it is one of my very best videos because of all the material that Megan gave me. She gave me the perfect sentence to open the video, and I was like, girl, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use an abuse of that.
I will be aggressive like I always am.
I put everything back together, and now I know how to win this race.
I like to keep my friends close, my enemies closer, you know?
She likes to bring the show into the game, and so she gave me like the perfect tool to get better at my job. That became one of my very favorite videos.
Life is too short. I never want to look back and regret anything in life, or regret that I didn't take chances. I want to live a life that is inspiring and that my family is proud of. And I think that most people don't pursue goals because they don't believe in themselves enough that they'll accomplish it. And I'm really blessed that I've grown up with people in my life who have helped reinstill that self-belief. And that created a strong and confident woman who said, you know what, I can do anything that I want, really. That's where I am. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan are my all-time favorite athletes. I just really love the way that they approach their careers and training and working out, and you know, it's 1% better every day. Every day, show up, get better. It's not about short term, it's about long term. It's not about not failing, it's about how you handle failure. It's about how you get back up. About a week and a half after that race, I realized I had something wrong with my back. And I just woke up one day and felt something not right and went to the gym to hit my session, just hoping that I'd warm up and it would be fine. And I could not even do a quarter rep. I was freaking out pretty much right away because I know this pain. I've had this happen before. I'm immediately going to my PT, trying to see if we can get it fixed or feeling better. I immediately had to modify my training. I could not run a single step.
What was your biggest fear?
That my career would be over. And that's actually where our story really starts. So the athletic camp is a HYROX fitness retreat, primarily done in Cyprus, but also in other locations, and it is run by my good friend, Luke Storath.
My name is Luke Storath, I'm 44 years old. I'm a HYROX veteran from the beginning. I was the first HYROX World Champion, the first man sub 60. Now I'm part of the HYROX and ESN game.
Yeah, so ESN is the first sponsor that I officially signed a deal with. And that was just kind of like a dream come true. I think when I started, there weren't a ton of sponsors like hopping onto this yet my first season. And that started to change my second season, and you could kind of feel that. Having sponsors, it allows you to be able to be more of a professional. It's really, really helpful. You have less pressure to have to earn income outside and then spreading yourself too thin. You can focus more on training. Not only that, but then ESN on the supplement side, just has changed my health drastically.
And we are very happy to have Megan here as a coach and as an athlete, and the people here like her very much. She's very experienced and she's a very good coach and give her best to all the athletes.
So my first time there was last March. So spring of 2024.
Megan Jacoby, the one and only from the US, is with us. Sie ist die erste Frau, die jeweils unter 60 Minuten gekommen ist beim HYROX. Ich bin der erste Mann, der unter 60 Minuten gekommen ist. Deswegen verbindet uns das natürlich besonders.
Now we are here the second time this year in the athletic and in Cyprus.
ESN is very special to me, and it always probably will be. It's also changed my life because that's how I met Benny. Benny Burkhart is the founder of ESN and one of the founders of More and OASE. We've been dating for about a year now. It's the best relationship that I've ever been in. So I did not know when I first met him truly what a remarkable person he is from just what he's accomplished. We're the same age, so we're both 33, and I mean, he's a very successful entrepreneur and has started several companies, owns 2 gyms. Hearing his story and learning more about him and how he started with nothing as a young 20-year-old and built all of this up in the last 13 years. And it's really inspiring, and he just makes me better. I learned something from him all the time, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about dating him is I'm always learning something. Going into my second world championship, I was really nervous and I was training really hard. My last race before that, my last solo race, like I said, I came in third. My confidence was down a little bit, I would say. He really reinstilled that confidence for me, and I think that's so important. I think every athlete really needs that support team and that support system around them. He just really believed in me, and I've told this story a few times, but he was calling me the next HYROX World Champion before I had accomplished that goal. And he was just like, no, that's what's gonna happen. You're going to win that. I really felt that in my bones. Like I felt it inside, like I'm going to win this today. And he definitely helped me have that confidence going into that race.
I said to Benny, he was running the other day at the house. Yeah. And I was like, he's like, I can go somewhere else. I was like, no, that's cute. He's very considerate.
That's really considerate.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It's really frustrating.
And the one day on the way here, I was kind of having a little, I had a moment because, you know, everybody loves HYROX and loves working out here, but this is my job and my life. Yeah. So I was feeling a little sorry for myself, and it was kind of like, okay, all these people get to do sport and whatever, and here I am the pro, and I'm the one going through the injuries like that.
Yeah. That's not fair.
Right?
Yeah, it's not fair. I know.
And that's kind of where your mind goes, but then you're just like, it's not fair.
You have
That's
to
just
talk
how
to
it works.
yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when I'm here, it's nice. It's nice to be around the good vibes, the positivity. It helps me.
That's true.
So it's
and
good.
also working out. So I don't want to disturb your workout. So
you're fine.
What happened the last few days or weeks?
The build up for Amsterdam, I felt fitter than ever. A week after the race, I did a 10K time trial. I ran my best 10K time I've probably ever run. Get my first major done in my qualification for Worlds, but then the week after, things really got really bad. Nothing was helping. I had to completely change training. I've had a ton of pain, nerve pain, not sleeping, modifying everything, and then finally really had some specialists check it out, and it's not a great situation.
What was the result of the checkup?
Yeah, so I have a pretty severe disc herniation between L4 and L5. Unfortunately, we're gonna be having surgery, and my season will be put on hold for a little while, but the goal will be to come back for Worlds. I have no expectations for Worlds as of right now, other than I just want to line up. If that means I'm at 50 or 60% of what I'm capable of, then so be it. Being on the start line, being in the championship is very important, not just for me, but also to show the community how you overcome. With every setback is an even greater comeback. And that will be the goal of this season for me. Because I'm a pro athlete, the longer we wait, greater the potential that I just lose more and more time. You have no idea how long your time is. Maybe you last 10 years, 15 years. We've seen amazing athletes. We just watched the Roger Federer documentary, an unbelievably long career he had, but that's not the case for everybody. So I don't want to waste any time while I have the time. I think it's a good reminder to just be super grateful for every opportunity that you have and never take it for granted. Just health is wealth, and just be super happy that you're so capable of being this active and at this level. Quitting would be the easiest thing, but I never choose the easy way. I always choose the hard way. That's when you grow the most, is when you're going through the hardest thing, right? We don't grow when we quit or give up.
In a few days, you're gonna have surgery. You're still at the athletic camp right now. You're here as a coach. You still kick your ass.
Yeah.
Most people would say, how can she train if she has surgery in 2 days?
Yeah.
Probably you also have a different pain tolerance. Why do you train today?
Well, mainly because I know I'm not going to be able to. This is what brings me the most joy. There's a camp here with a ton of people who are super enthusiastic about my sport, and that gives you a lot of appreciation for it. And so instead of sitting at home and wallowing in feeling sorry for myself. I'm just choosing to do whatever I can do while I can. And I feel like if I stay as fit as possible until surgery day, it will be that much easier to come back, hopefully. Again, it's just when you're going through a hard time, I think sometimes you need to lean into what brings you the most happiness. And that's what fitness and community in fitness does for me. So it was kind of a no-brainer. It was just like, all right, we're gonna have this surgery, but I'm still gonna follow my plan. And I've been doing everything my coach has been giving me. And it keeps me inspired. Also, seeing other people so interested, getting to be around people and help inspire them with my story also just reminds me why I do what I do and why I will come back and I will fight and I will get through this. Yeah, I almost cried like 3 times.
Sorry, honey.
It's okay. My leg is, because of my nerve being pinched, my leg is so freaking weak. When I wake up in the morning, until I'm moving around, it's very weak feeling. I'm walking down the stairs sideways because I don't trust this leg to take like an individual step. I feel like my leg's gonna give out.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I don't want to fall down the stairs. So.
But you have to do ultra long walks.
Oh yeah.
That need 4 or
and
5
honestly,
hours.
Cycling feels good.
It's good?
Yeah, it helps like...
You have no pressure on the back.
Nope, and it loosens up whatever is pinching the nerve. So usually I do bike first thing when I wake up.
Yeah, I saw
because
it in
it just
your story.
helps me like get back to feeling okay, and then during the day I've been feeling fine. The nighttime is when it's when you're not mobile and everything tightens up. That's when I'm.
But when you lay
down
in bed,
yeah, it's
painful.
Fucked. Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm laying like 3 huge pillows, so I'm like almost all the way upright. I have to go on my side and I have to have my knees bent like
How do you normally sleep? On the back or on the stomach or?
I can sleep anyway.
Sleep
I
on the
love
stomach.
sleeping on my stomach, but I can't with my lashes. So I have to go on the side now. The things we do for beauty.
Shit. Yeah.
He's so funny. He's like, wake me up if you need anything. I'm like, I'm not gonna ruin your night. Like, already one of us is having a shitty night. It's not gonna be both of us. You should get some sleep.
Wow.
So then I sneak out if I can't, because I feel bad. I'm like rolling all over. I don't want to wake him up. So then I go down on the couch, sit down there.
In Germany we say Ehrenmann. You know the word?
Say it again.
Ehrenmann.
Ehrenmann.
Yeah, exactly. That's
What
you.
does that mean?
That is you. That's huge respect for your behavior. That you,
thank you.
don't want to ruin his night. That's
No.
awesome.
No. I feel great today. When I'm moving around, I feel fine and better, and then the second I stop doing activity or I'm sitting a long time or I'm laying down, that's really when I have the most pain. So yeah, just being very careful what I'm doing activity-wise. I have to modify a lot, but there's still a lot that I can do. When you're used to training very hard, many hours a day, and then you take away the training, I think the mental side of that is much more difficult than the physical side. So having a good understanding of that and what I might have coming in the next few weeks, I think is good to start getting prepared mentally for that and the hardship that it might be.
What will be the next step?
So I'm gonna get a second opinion today from a German doctor that is good friends with Luke and Benny, and then that will help us decide if we should proceed with the surgery. The doctors here are basing their decision heavily on the fact that I'm a professional athlete and I need to get back to competing. So just have the surgery and then try to get back into shape quickly. But if there's another opinion that says, oh, we can do this, and this should work, then that might be the better route to go. Obviously, long-term in life, the more surgeries you have on issues like this, the worse it will be later. So maybe 20 years from now, I'm having a lot of issues because I had stuff like this done in my younger years. So we are very focused on right now, but we also need to think about the rest of our life outside of the few years we'll be competing. So that's kind of where it gets a little blurry on what to do.
So what's your feeling about the surgery? Like, would you rather do it or not? So what would be the best, what the doctors say today?
I just want to be out of pain. So if they have an injection or something they really feel will work and it will help my pain, then I would be very happy to do that. I think that's the hardest part, is trying to train, being in pain, feeling like you have to train. It gets very taxing and it really affects your mood, and I just want to be able to live my life a little bit better. So yeah, I just want to be out of pain.
The original plan was that we have the surgery in Cyprus, but now we had a different opinion from a German doctor, recommended by Luke. He's a specialist for disc, has 25 years in research. We'd fly now to Germany. Definitely want to check in with him, what he thinks, and yeah, maybe we do the surgery in Germany because he is more educated in that specific thing, and we definitely want to have a second opinion there.
Physical therapy, physio.
Back problems, or when it started?
For like how far back?
Yeah.
23, 24.
And it was a lower back, or?
Yeah, it was L5S1 was my first surgery.
Oh, you get a surgery?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the open surgery, you have to remove bone tissue to come down to remove the disc herniation, consequence the instability of the lumbar spine. We will see on the MRI that you have a weakness in the deep lumbar spine muscles, and that's the main problem. We have a lot of pro sports who have a problem in that area. The first thing that you feel pain, and then you take that muscle easy, and then you lose muscles. But now you have too much pain, or what's about the pain?
I can't load anything, weight. I cannot, but I can do like body weight squats, things like that. I can push the sled. I can't do a lunge.
If you have a very strong surface part, that means that if you make no special training for the deep lumbar spine muscles, that becomes more and more weak. Nobody knows that. And so we have a lot of very good athletes who do training 6-7 hours per day, and they have muscles in the deepness like children. And that's what I see when I saw your MRI. And you have to isolate these muscles, and that only work with special machines. So we should do the surgery, but I will examine you, and we will do a test with the machines, and I will check the MRI, and we will find the right way how to get rid of your problems. How much you can. It's painful a bit.
Yeah, right there.
So, on the heel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm ticklish.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Tell me when you feel pain. Ja. Hier geht's locker rauf, das heißt der Nerv ist stark unter Druck. Wir sollten es davon abhängig machen, wie groß der Vorfall ist. Ne? Wenn er ziemlich groß ist, dann kriegen wir den einfach nicht resorbiert. Dazu brauchen wir zu lange Zeit. Also ich habe einen Riesenvorfall, 14 mm gehabt, der ist komplett weg, aber es hat ein halbes Jahr gedauert, bis der Körper das resorbiert hat.
If someone has 6 months to recover, right?
That's
no problem.
For her.
But she has to be at the World Championship in 6 months.
You're in a side position, and you're not on a full anesthesia. You get with a needle direct on the disc herniation. It's the same channel as a nerve root, you see? You go through this hole on the disc herniation. After the surgery, after 4 weeks or 3 weeks, then we can start with medical stretching therapy with isolate training with power spine machines. And then we need 20 sessions, 3 times, twice a week, whatever.
How long can she not riding a bike? For her, it's important that she doesn't lose the aerobic fitness. So, aerobic
1-2 weeks.
Okay.
We should wait, because we remove the disc herniation, but there's a little gap.
So if we would do the open surgery,
You
what do you
lose 3 months.
There's 3 months.
Yeah.
That's really different
I know.
to the
Yeah.
endoscopic treatment.
You have some big advantages because after surgery, you're doing a lot of sports. So the thing is, once you've removed the disc herniation, the muscle let's say, effectiveness is much higher than normal people. So I think that we can get the rehabilitation earlier, and we can have it in much compact way. So
after
3 weeks or so, 3 weeks, 4
you
weeks.
can do a cycling in Cyprus slowly, and then you come over to Germany, and we do a really special training for you after 3-4 weeks.
I'm healthy. I don't have any issues now.
You should.
I should use that. How often? Twice per year?
No, if you do it in a preventive way, I think you have to do it the basic. The basic is 18 sessions, normal life. 18 sessions, then you're well trained, the deep spine muscles, and then the deep spine muscles are always there. They're just reduced. Once you've got them on the right level, you need to just trigger them once in a month, and they do it the same. And you are on the same level as you finished with the maximum training after 18 sessions. That's crazy.
So you check the pictures again, right?
Yeah.
Of course, she will lose some strength in her upper body because she will stop training, but that's
She
not
will.
an issue.
Yeah.
Because she's strong enough.
Yeah.
The bigger issue for her will be because HYROX is a crazy endurance sport.
Yeah.
That she can start running as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I think that will be the thing we have to figure out.
Ich hab's jetzt gesehen. Achso, okay.
Aber der ist riesig groß. Ne?
Ist groß.
Das ist auch eine Herausforderung, jetzt endoskopisch das rauszuholen. Aber wir sollten es auf jeden Fall endoskopisch probieren. Wenn nicht, müssen wir es halt aufmachen. Aber ich glaube, das muss endoskopisch auf jeden Fall. Der muss so groß wie meiner auch war damals.
Also ich habe einen Riesenvorfall, 14 mm gehabt. Der ist komplett weg, aber es hat ein halbes Jahr gedauert.
Sehen wir also das kleine Blaue?
Guten Appetit. Thank you.
What's in your head?
It's just shitty to start all over. Just having to start from square one. It's very hard.
Of course. But babe, keep in mind where you're coming from.
I know.
So it's a big advantage.
Yeah.
Forget about the short-term things now.
Yeah.
What only matters is, can you compete in 3 years at the World Championship at the highest level? Yes or no? It's the only thing what matters.
Yeah.
There's anyway no other option, right? They know what they do.
Yeah.
They're experts.
Yeah.
You said it's a very big one, what you have.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's getting bigger. That's reason one. And it's a very fresh one. It's not drying out.
The other side is that everything I do is so high impact, and it would never get better by itself. Well, one thing I'm actually slightly happy about in a sense is that it's not that I did something in training that caused this directly. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was deadlifting and I threw my back out because I went too heavy like an idiot, I'd be so angry with myself. But this is like a physiological thing that is sort of not in my control. It's the deep core muscles that you can't even train. So it's like it's not like I could do anything.
Vielen Dank. Morgen 11 Uhr. Super. Danke dir vielmals. We have tomorrow also at 11 a talk about the, how you call it if you sleep?
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia. So tomorrow 11, Wednesday 1, and then Thursday surgery. Problem is, Meg is the best in the world, and we have not really 8, 12, 16 weeks time to fix that conservative. So we probably go to the more quick fix, which is a surgery. But after the surgery, she cannot do 4 weeks of sport, and then it's done, because after that you can strengthen the deep muscular, and then the problem that where it happened is fixed. Tomorrow we have another meeting with him, then we discuss the timelines. If everything is as we expect, then we could already do the surgery on Thursday, which is just in 3 days. And yeah, so that's the current update.
Just watched or listened to an hour-long compilation of Kobe Bryant's best quotes. So if that tells you anything about where my mindset was at, I knew I had to dig myself out of the dark hole. But 2 weeks after the surgery, I'm able to start doing light exercise, cycling, swimming, which is massive. Just everybody's body reacts differently to it. So it's kind of like seeing what I can do. And then once those treatments are done, which it's about 4 weeks, so 20 sessions, I should be able to really gear the training back up. And that puts us at around Christmas time. So I still have 5 months until Worlds to really get back into top form. Obviously, when you're as fit as someone like me, too, you bounce back so much quicker. I've been running for 21 years. I know that that will come back a lot faster for me than most people. And also, we recover as athletes significantly faster. We adapt significantly faster to treatment. So I'm really hopeful that we can get back. I was hoping I could maybe race in March and not have to do the surgery because I'm very anxious about hospitals. I don't like that stuff. I'm very nervous. But this was their recommendation, and these are the smartest people in the world in this, so we're going to trust what they say to do. Now it's controlling the mind, which is honestly, I think, for every athlete, the by far hardest part. We can handle pain, we can fight through setbacks, we can adapt training. That's all very easy. It's the 2 weeks of sitting around and doing nothing, falling into the what if thing. That's the hard part.
That is probably very interesting for all the kind of athletes. Whenever you think you have a strong back on the surface,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have also the deep muscular well developed.
The other side of it is when you have these types of weaknesses, just a ticking time bomb. You have no idea. I mean, I've gotten through years and years of crazy high impact sport, tons of lifting. Never did I have issues, but it's not necessarily a question of will it happen at this level, especially. It's like, when will it happen? So we're dealing with that right now.
So the following Meg only will see that if she ever watch the YouTube video, but the first doctor said that the World Championship in June is absolutely impossible. So she should not think about that. He said that in German, so she doesn't know that, because he recommended a different method for the surgery. He was quite confident that if we do the surgery this week and we do the deep muscular strengthening cycle after that relative fast, and if she participates, no matter what place she will do, it's really crazy that it's a kind of small wonder. If we see Meg in 2025 competing at the World Championship, and we all, fingers crossed, 1 or 2 weeks ago, it definitely didn't look like that.
You can take all the questions you have.
So we know that traveling far is not a good option.
Yes, it's possible, but it's not. If you
It's
have
not ideal.
the choice, then you should stay
Yes.
1 or 2 days.
So we have the surgery tomorrow. 2 weeks from now, we could start the treatment.
So that depends on the findings tomorrow. That's the muscle situation, you see?
Mhm.
This is the fat tissue.
Mhm.
You understand that?
How should it usually look like? Black?
Black, like this?
Yeah.
You see, this is your muscle situation here. And it should be black.
Mhm.
And I show always the patient this picture to have an example for bad muscles. These are bad muscles, and that they are your muscles.
Mhm.
So you will be run faster, you will be jump higher and wider, and so on. That's all related to these muscles. Every HYROX athlete should have optimized deep lumbar spine muscle areas.
Yeah.
You avoid the pressure on the disc. You have
Stronger
strong
muscles.
muscles around the disc. NBA stars from the United States, and they have all the same problem. And that's why you get again this
It did,
herniation.
yeah. Mhm.
And so if you not strengthen this kind of muscles, you will develop the next one after
Yeah.
the surgery.
Yeah.
I will take out now this piece, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your spinal cord, and this is all disc herniation. The disc herniation is like this.
Wow.
You have to imagine that you are a super athlete, that's clear, you're the world pro sport, I know that all, but you have muscles like a 12 years old lady in that area. And for this kind of muscles, you need power spine, this isolation of the muscles.
Yeah.
In your case, it's not necessary to make big physiotherapy.
Yeah.
2 minutes, this machine have more effect than 20 hours physiotherapy.
Well, that's when I said it. That's all they do for you after. So the first
Yeah.
surgery I had, I just went to physical therapy probably 10 times, and I'm doing all
that is for you.
core planking it's all core stuff.
It's ridiculous
and,
for you.
and
I know.
exactly.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it felt extremely silly.
Yeah.
Almost like a waste of my time.
First 4 weeks only swimming or cycling sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. After 1 week you can go
Start
on cycling and
After 1 week we can start cycling.
Yeah.
A little bit for half
a little
an hour.
bit, yeah.
If I want to start this as well.
Yeah, you can make that parallel.
Perfect. So basically every human has to do that.
Yeah. But I want to show you something because it's not. You see that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Once you build up those muscles, you will never
Then
have a
you
disc
can-
Okay,
problem.
well that's
Then you have the next 20 years no problem.
But again, you still have to do the machines.
yes.
So tomorrow 7:30.
Yeah. So I have to be there at 7:30 or I'll be there earlier?
I
than
have
that?
more 7.
7, okay.
7 is 7:30 is the cut.
Questions?
7.
I walked into the room, the surgical room, and I started having a panic attack, literally shaking, and I can't breathe, and I had 5 people around me telling me like it's gonna be okay. You can choose to do it, you don't have to. And I'm like, I have no choice.
Just 30 minutes after surgery. How you feeling?
Pretty bad, but I don't have any pain down my leg anymore, so that's good. I'm super tired.
At least you have a little bit of a German bretzel. So quick update, because we had the post-surgery talk with Dr. Alphen, and he said best case scenario happened. So there was already something of the disc moving into the root canal, which causing the pain. They removed also that part. Then the other part, which was going out more and more. So everybody's very relieved and happy. And of course also Meg and I are now, it's just done, and we know from there on this was probably the darkest place. From now on every day will be just better.